Hello, good morning, and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen James. Guys, this is the channel that brings you all your latest Rangers news daily. Every single day we're here. And we're here free of charge. We don't charge you. We don't hide our content behind any paywalls. We don't believe in Patreon. And we won't ever believe in Patreon. We don't believe in ripping £3, £2.50 a month off you. If you do want to support the channel, become a member. Super thanks, super chat, super stickers during lives. They're the best ways to support the channel. And remember, guys, we are only now, three, that's right, just three subs away from hitting the magic 7K to help us get there. Right, we're going to talk January transfer window. Of course, we're going to talk January transfer window. What are we talking? It's January. It's Christmas time for football fans. You know, whilst kids get all excited about one day of the year, December the 25th, and possibly their birthday as well, football fans get excited for 31 days for January. January, the longest, most hideous month of the year, but exciting for football fans with the transfer window being open. So, what's the latest? What's going on? What's the story? Now, look, I know we're all stuck in a little bit of transfer window limbo because of the whole Philippe Clement says Patrick Stewart's going to make a statement, but nothing has come out of the club as regards Patrick Stewart making any statement. You know, and the club even said, yes, Patrick Stewart will speak to the media very shortly about it. Patrick Stewart doesn't seem, and it might come out today, and I'm like a complete twat for saying this. I don't know, but it could happen. So we are stuck in a little bit of transfer window limbo, and there's so much speculation. I mean, the speculation is that Rangers have got, well, let's face it, if you listen to the other side of the city, obviously our financial advisors, the accountants for the whole of Glasgow, the financial experts for the whole of Scotland, Celtic FC fans. I mean, Jesus, they must have all gone to Oxford and Cambridge and done, you know, financial degrees and actuary degrees and accountancy degrees. They're such financial experts. But you know, there we go. So you listen to them. We've got no money. We're skint FC. Blah 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 blah. Oh, shut the fuck up. No one cares. Get back to your sister. Right, or you know, there will be only loans because that's how we've got. That's the way it's going to be, unfortunately, in January. Or we will have money to spend. If you listen to what John Gilligan said, and there will be the backing of the manager. Or they're not going to back the manager fully because they're not convinced he is the right man for the job. And at the end of the season, they're going to give him the bullet. I mean, there's so much speculation. So we've got stories about two people in particular today. Two. That's right, just two. But you know what? It's better than none. Lyall Cameron and Katic are a former Rangers player and one of the most young, promising players in Scottish football. You know, kind of the I don't know the I don't know what this is going to sound really bad, but kind of like the Asda Lidl version of Lennon Miller. I mean, no offense to Lyall Cameron, but you know, Lennon Miller is kind of the gold standard. But you know, as we know, Lennon Miller isn't going to move in January. He's injured. He's out for the whole of the month of January and probably half of February. So no one's going to punt any money on him. And the likelihood is in the summer that he goes down south to England anyway. So let's start off with a story about our former player, Katic. We'll get to Lyall Cameron very shortly. So please hang on for that. There's some interesting bits and bobs swirling around Lyall Cameron. So Katic, I'm sure you all remember him. I'm sure you all remember him being here. I'm sure you all remember his contributions to Rangers. I've got to say, I do remember with great fondness that goal at the enemy at Parkhead to win that game. Absolutely superb from Katic. Now, Katic is only 28 years old. He's not old. He's not, he's not Johnny Evans old. He's not James Tavernier old. He's 28. So he's still kind of in the prime. He's actually in the prime of his career. He'd say as a centre back, he's probably got another 3-4 years left in the prime of his career. He's 6'4", so he's a big old unit. Takes no messing. Look, and I think we all know his strengths. We've seen him play for Rangers, but obviously he's had time for development and time for improvement since that. He's currently with FC Zurich in the Swiss Super League, where he's made 18 appearances, scoring 2 goals and getting 2 assists from centre back. He's also played 4 times in the Conference League qualifiers and has played 3 times in the Swiss Cup this season. He's been in 100% of the Zurich starting 11s in the league this year, and he's under contract until 2026. So I know what a lot of you are thinking is, well, what's that got to do with us? You know, he's under contract. He's obviously, he's playing. Why? Well, according to stories that are emanating from Switzerland and from his native Croatia, Katic is looking for a move back to Rangers. Apparently, he wants to leave Zurich and has said that he is not against a return to Rangers. In his time with Rangers, Katic made 59 appearances, scoring 6 goals, 3 assists. Katic was a quality player for us. He was a good player. He's a very much a no nonsense, sticks his head in where some are afraid to stick their feet kind of defender, and he's very much, I think, in the mould of what we need at this moment in time. He won the league with us in 2020, 2021. So he's got that behind him. I mean, I've got to say, I like Katic. I like his physicality. I like the way he plays. The guy's Croatian. Croatians on the whole do very well in Scotland. Do very well at Rangers. I must admit, Katic is someone who, since this story kind of broke yesterday, I've done a bit more, I've done some more looking into his career since Rangers and been really impressed with what he's done, with how he's defending, how he plays. I mean, I must admit, the first time round, I liked Katic. I thought he was a good player. I was sorry to see him go. And I think he's a player that realistically, if we could get him back, would be a fantastic acquisition. Now, transfer market currently list the guy's value at around 1.5 million euro, which is about £1 million, £1.25 million. So it's not a break the bank kind of transfer. I think even Rangers could find $1 million or 1.25 million by digging down the back of the Ibrox sofa, perhaps raiding the glove box on Douglas Park's BMW, and find something. Finds a bit of money to go and get the money in. He's a good player. He's got a lot going for him. I think he's very much the sort of person that could come in, make a difference at Rangers, be part of the squad. Looking at his XGs, his stats, he's not world class. Don't get me wrong, he's not. You wouldn't put him in the same levels as some of the other Croatian defenders, or you wouldn't put him in the same level as the Van Dijks of this world, or the Gabriels or the William Salibas of this world. You wouldn't put him in that standard, but you'd certainly put him up there with John Souttar, with Leon Balogun, with Cameron Carter-Vickers. You'd certainly put him in that same sort of class in Scotland. So he's certainly someone I think could come in and do a job. And I really hope that this is the sort of player that Rangers, once this story broke yesterday, and I think if Niels Coppen did some digging around, and I get the whole transfer model kind of crap thing, yes, we have got to go down that route. Yes, that is the way forward. Yes, that is the future of this club. Unfortunately, the days of the late 80s, early 90s under Souness, where we could just buy who we wanted and sod everybody else, they're dead. They're gone, unfortunately. So look, we're in this mold now, and I do believe that Katic could be someone who could come in, add to the squad, hit the ground running, because even though he's a foreign player coming from a foreign league, this is a guy who's played in Scotland, who gets Scotland, who knows how to play in Scotland. It's not like Scottish football is some mystery to him, like it would be if we were, if we'd gone and signed, say, Barmo Maite, Marseille, who of course isn't going to come now because he's injured. Although I did hear a really funny joke last night that even Rangers now, even players that Rangers are about to sign are getting injured. The Rangers injury curse seems to be transmitting across the continent. If you're linked with Rangers, you suddenly get injured. Let's hope Katic doesn't get injured. But I think Katic could be someone who could come in, make a difference, and actually add to this squad. And like I said, I hope that once this story broke yesterday, and it's from fairly reliable sources, that Coppen looked into it, that perhaps he spoke to board, he spoke to Katic's agent maybe, and kind of dug into it a little bit. Now, I know that Katic isn't someone who fits the transfer model. I get that, okay, because he doesn't fit the transfer model. Realistically, in 2 years' time, he's going to be 30. He's not going to be a player who is going to be worth a maximum value. We're not going to sort of raise a huge amount of funds on him, but you can't just buy young players who are going to add to the transfer value. You've got to add leaders, and Katic would be a leader. That's what he would be brought in for. He's ex-Rangers. He understands the club. He's 28. He's got good experience. That's what you're adding him for. You do need a core of experience within your squad and within your first starting 11 if you're going to be successful. You can't just fill your team full of kids who you're developing to sell. That is not the recipe for winning trophies. So look, Katic for me, big yes. I like that. I've come more around to it. I was kind of on the fence with it last night, but this morning, definitely up for it. Definitely up for it. Right, let's move it on to Lyall Cameron. Here he is playing against Rangers. So Lyall Cameron. Very quick sip of tea there. Lyall Cameron, very promising, very talented young player with Dundee. Rated as one of the top talents in Scotland. When Dundee played against us very recently, he really impressed, played well. He's a good player, a very talented player. Stats-wise this season, looking at the guy's stats this season, in the Scottish Premiership, he started every single game for Dundee this year, made 21 appearances, 5 goals, 4 assists. Now, look, like I've said, if you can, and this is going to sound really bad, and I apologise. I don't apologise. I don't actually care. But he plays for Dundee. Let's face it, Dundee are not a great team, are they? They're an okay team. You've got to admire we alcoholic Uncle Tony, who does a good job with them. But they're a little wee team. They're doing all right. They're decent. They make a fist of it every season, but they're not a great team. They don't create a lot of chances. They're not a dominant team. But so to get 9 goal contributions in 21 in a as a young up and coming player is pretty decent. It's pretty decent. I mean, he's played 100% of the games. He's played 95% of their minutes. He's contributed to nearly a third of their goals this season in the league. In the League Cup, he made 6 appearances, 3 goals, 3 assists, so 6 goal contributions in 6 games. I mean, that's pretty decent for Lyall Cameron. Played 83% of the starting 11s, 89% of the minutes, and contributed to a quarter of their goals. Cameron's a central midfielder. He can also play as an attacking midfielder and a right midfielder. So he's a player who could come in and fulfill a number of roles for Rangers. He could obviously go out on the right to spell Cherney. He could come in and play in the 10 role. He could come in and play on that attacking midfield role alongside Raskin, spell Diamonde. And look, we kind of need that 2 players for every position. The other thing about Cameron is the fact that he's a very young lad. He's 22 years old, so he's still got time to develop. He's still got time to improve, and to be showing what he's showing now at 22 is showing what talent he has and what potential the guy has. He's under contract now. The situation is this: that Lyall Cameron is actually out of contract at the end of this season. Now, Dundee will be very aware of that situation. That at the end of this season, that they could face a situation where one of their most promising young talent walks away for absolutely nothing. Well, not absolutely nothing. He'll go to tribunal like the Conor Barron thing. And the Conor Barron thing has kind of set a precedent, hasn't it? You're probably going to get about 650 with 20%. So, if Rangers were to really, really push this could be something they could get done in January. They could say to Dundee, look, you're not going to get a lot from him in the summer. And if you do, you're going to have to wait until probably around about December, January time to get your money. We'll take him now. Here's 500,000. Here's 600,000. Here's whatever. Take it or leave it. Now, this could be a possibility. Or we start talking to him and we go, right, Lyall, we want you at Rangers. You've got a chance to come here, win things, win trophies, play in Europe, which you're not going to get with Dundee. Here's a pre-contract, sign on the dotted line, and you're our player in the summer. So I think this is a very real possibility for me. This again is coming from reliable sources. This is a lad who's scored 8 goals this season in total. He averages a goal every 284 minutes, which from midfield is pretty decent. And, considering Rangers, one of the things we do need to address is goals from midfield. Cameron can bring that. I mean, he's likely to finish with double figures this season. 15 goal contributions in 27 games in a Dundee team that is not fantastic. Again, quality player. And, he doesn't just pass the stats test. If you actually watch Lyall Cameron, he passes the eye test as well. He's a very neat, tidy player. He's good on the ball. He's quick. He's strong. He's a decent lad. And again, it's a young Scottish talent. And I think, we kind of at times are guilty of showing a little bit of snobbery when it comes to Scottish players and thinking, well, not all of us, but some of us are. And I think, the more Scottish talent we get into the squad, the more young Scottish talent we bring into the club, the better for Rangers. If you go back to the great days of Walter Smith, he wasn't afraid to have Scottish talent in there, to use Scottish players. I think I did a bit of research once, which is on one of the videos a bit back, where you look at teams that were that he had that were successful, and you're looking at 5-6 players in every starting 11 per season being Scottish, and that's what brings through the success. Players that get it, players that understand what it is to wear that shirt, players that understand what it is to be Rangers players. So adding another Scottish talent like Lyall Cameron for me would be a great signing. Now, Cameron, in total, his total career, 105 appearances for Dundee, 27 goals, 12 goal contribution, 12 assists. That's 39 goal contributions in 105 for a young player, up and coming, very promising. He had a season at Peterhead on loan, 33 appearances, 5 goals. Season at Montrose, well, not season, 11 games at Montrose. This is a good footballer, He's already represented Scotland at under 21 level. He's very much in the same sort of mould as Conor Barron. I would say probably a better player than Conor Barron overall, but certainly very impressive. And I think Lyall Cameron, either on a pre-contract for the summer for free, well, not for free, for a tribunal fee, or now we go in and, like I said, Rangers show some ambition. Rangers go in there, test Dundee's, Will, he's out of contract in the summer. Dundee, you're going to get next to nothing for him in the summer. So go to them and say, right, here's this amount of money, here's a sell-on percentage, selling us now. Now, I know that clubs hate us and clubs will not do things because it's Rangers. I get that. But, even clubs that don't like us are not that financially stupid that they're going to sit there, turn down more money than they're probably going to get at a tribunal and a percentage sell-on they're going to get, rather than, wait to the summer and the guy walks for nothing and then they've got to wait 6 months to get their money. This is something we really need to start looking at now and testing. And like I said, if it does have to be a pre-contract, it has to be a pre-contract. But I certainly hope that these stories that are doing the rounds this morning are true. This is a very good young footballer, a very talented young footballer. And I tell you one thing, rest assured, the other side of the city will also be looking at him as well and casting envious eyes towards him, as they would have done towards Barron, despite what they may say on X and on social media. So Lyall Cameron for me is another big yes. Look, realistically, are Rangers going to spend a massive amount of money in this window? No. Realistically, are Rangers going to bring in a massive number of players in this window? No. If we can come out of this window with, say, 3 players, a centre-back, a centre midfielder, and a centre-forward, that for me would be a good window. If we could, say, bring in Katic, Cameron, and one other, a striker, spot on, get rid of some Deadwood, get rid of Dessers, get rid of Dowell, get rid of Matondo, then that for me would be excellent news. Now, there is a story currently doing the rounds around Rabbi Matondo. That's the whole situation around Matondo is that very much that the club have reached kind of the end of their tether with him in terms of the fact, that he is always injured. He seems to come back, play okay, and then go out injured again. He's missed a lot of time with the club. He really has. Now, Rabbi Matondo was the subject of a bid in the summer, wasn't he, from Norwich, which the club turned down. Now, according to the reports that I'm reading, is that the club are very much willing to sell Matondo in this window. Like I said, it is his injury history. I mean, if you consider since he came to Rangers, he came to Rangers in 22-23, he has missed 39, 49, 56 games in that time. So, Matondo has missed 56 games for Rangers since he's arrived at the club with injury. And that's a ridiculous, ridiculous number of injuries to sustain. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. 56 games he's missed in the time he's been with us. He had a hamstring injury. He's had a hamstring injury this year, 17 games. A muscle injury, 6 games. A knee injury, 13 games. Another unknown injury. How you have an unknown injury, God only knows. But that's 20 games out. The guy misses an awful lot of football. And, considering he's one of our top wage earners on over 20 grand a week, can you afford to pay someone who's missed that many games with, over 20 grand a week? That's wasting a lot of money on players that are basically never playing for you. Matondo, in terms of his record this season, it's not bad. It's 5 appearances, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 goal contributions, but he's only played 10% of the starting 11s and 11% of the minutes this season in the league. Overall, in terms of the fact, the Matondo is under contract until 2026, so he's reaching that 18-month, 2-year point again. It's the time when you've really got to consider a player's future. Like I keep saying, you don't let it go down to the last 12 months, 6 months, 2 years, 18 months. That's when you go to a player and say, here's a new deal, sign it, or we're selling you, or we don't want you anymore. Bye-bye, see you later. That's going to be the way it goes. Now, in his time with Rangers, Matondo has played 66 times, 8 goals, 12 assists. 20 goal contributions in 66 as a player who was kind of brought in to do that job. It's not massively impressive, is it? It isn't hugely impressive numbers. And like I said, the amount of time that this guy has missed is pretty incredible. All those games that he's missed, all that time that he's missed, and he cost us, around £3 million, which is not a negligible amount of money. Now, I don't think for 1 minute we're going to get £3 million back for him. I think, any sort of bid around £1 million, £1.5 million will be what we get from now, because that's where we're at with him. But I think the fact that we're looking to sell him, it is very promising. And I do think that, like I said, in this window, we need to look to shift Deadwood. Deadwood needs to go. there's still too many players, I think, at Rangers who are stealing a wage, who are here under false pretenses as alleged footballers. You look at them and you just go, he ain't a footballer. He ain't a footballer. He ain't good enough anymore. And there's too many of those. There's way too many of those. I honestly believe at this club. And if we can clear out some of this dead wood and we can get rid of some of this dead wood, then I do believe that this can obviously generate a little bit of money. It's not going to generate a massive amount of money. Now, people ask me the question, yes, but Owen, how do you get rid of players that nobody wants? Look, at the end of the day, there's a market for everybody. There's a market for you look around Europe and you look around England. Players who you would say are shit or not great still get transferred. They still get sold off. It's how little you are prepared to take for them. And at times you've got to kind of look at it in terms of, well, look, we're not going to get market value for this player. We want rid of him. We want him off our wage bill. We don't want to cancel and pay up his contract, but we do want a little bit of cash for him. So anything we can get has got to be positive. So look, I would say at the end of the day, if we can get some money from Matondo, if we can get him off the wage bill in January, that would be spot on for me. I mean, for me, these are the players we need to be looking at getting rid of either in this window or in the summer. And we got a name off that list. This is in no particular order. But you look at that list. You got Dessers. I think Cyril Dessers has to go. The guy is quite clearly not happy at the club. He doesn't like playing third fiddle, but he's got to accept that he's not as good as Hamza. I mean, he's not even in the. I mean, if you look at Hamza, and you compare it to say a skyscraper, Hamza's in the penthouse, Dessers is in the basement. I mean, that's where we're at with these players. And Danilo is about halfway up the skyscraper. So look, I think Dessers, for me, it's time he went. It's time he moved on. He's got to go. We've got to drain the swamp. Dowell, another one who steals a wage. I mean, I seriously do not know what Kieran Dowell's purpose is. I mean, the guy's not a winger. He's not fast enough. He's not an attacking midfielder. He's not skillful enough. He's not a 6 because he's not defensive enough. He's not an 8 because he doesn't go box to box. He's not a striker. I don't know what Kieran Dowell actually is. I mean, I think that probably a couple of years ago, Dowell was a decent player, but I think all the injuries that he's had have caught up on with him, turned him into a very average League One player. I think he's a player who could go to, say, to Dundee or to Hibernian or to St Johnstone and be okay for them, be all right for them. But for Rangers, he's just not up to standard. Matondo, I've just spoken about. Proper. Look, I think Proper will probably stay till the summer now, but to me, he's not good enough for Scottish. I mean, that sounds like an oxymoron. He's not good enough for Scottish football, but he's not able to handle the physicality, the intensity, the speed. He's not able to handle any of those things. So for me, he's got to be another one that gets shipped out. Devine, I think, will go in this window. I'm not saying he's devil, but he will go in this window. Lowry, another one who, for me, he's just wasted here. He's wasted here. He's not going to get a chance. So time for him to go. Tom Lawrence, I do worry that Tom Lawrence gets a new contract. I really do. I really hope he doesn't, because he just slows everything down. If he comes back and starts over Hadji or over Bayrami, I will be absolutely spitting. He's a player who's out of contract in the summer. Again, we need to shift on. And James Tavernier, look, Tavernier is Tavernier. He's going to be here until the cockroaches crawl out, I think, he'll be here till the summer because he'll want his transfer, he'll want his testimonial. And after that, we take it from there. Who knows? Anyway, guys, thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. As always, please, on the way out, smash that sub, comment, share, do all that fabulous stuff for me. And remember, always, we are the people.